I have had a great experience at Elmhurst. I'm obviously involved with the volleyball program. We're like sisters. It was instant friends as soon as I came here. Every year, the seniors get to pick places where we want to go for a tournament. So we've been to California, Colorado, Boston, and it's just been a fun experience because not only do we play volleyball, we also get to do touristy types of things. I would say we're pretty close because we practice 5 days a week for 2.5 hours. We're lifting, we're doing bonding things, and we're traveling on the weekends. So you're pretty much with these girls for 3 months every single day for hours. So we're all pretty close.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Elmhurst College. On the campus of Elmhurst College, I'm Tim Calderwood with you from R.A. Faginal Hall. It's a doubleheader of basketball action in the CCIW featuring the visiting Vikings of Augustana College and your Elmhurst College Blue Jays. As the starting lineups are being introduced, let's do the same. Kristen Warnkin, 5'5" sophomore out of Erie, Colorado, averaging 5.1 points per game for Augustana. Whitney Miller, 5'6" junior, hailing from Clinton, Iowa, at 6.3 points per ball game. Brianna Skeens, a 5'10" junior out of Vernon Hills, averaging 2.2. Elizabeth Phillips, out of Lake Villa, a junior guard, averaging 4.7 points per ball game. And Kristen Fox, a senior, out of Ottawa, Illinois, averaging 12.9 points per ball game. The Vikings are led by head coach Bobby Endress. Enter the ball game with a record of 4-14 and an 0-7 mark in the College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin. For the Blue Jays, Kelsey Monroe starts at guard, a senior out of West Chicago, averaging 9 points per ball game. Rashida Joyner out of Chicago, Illinois, also a senior, averaging 3.2 points per night. C.J. Harris at one forward, 5'9" senior out of Calumet Park at 4.6 points per game. Megan Merklin, 5'11" junior out of Plainfield, leading scorer at 12.6 per ball game. And Megan Ney, a junior out of Carroll Stream, averaging 11.6 points per ball game. Gina Veneer joins me on this Saturday night, and Gina, Elmhurst riding a 3-game winning streak. Coming into the game 9-9, 4-3 in the CCIW, over 500. They've worked their way back into the mix, and one of the biggest reasons has been the emergence of Megan Merklin, a player I think we always knew could score, but has just stepped it up in the last couple of weeks.
She has done, Tim, an excellent job. She scored 22 points against the North Central College game, which was a huge win for the Blue Jays. On top of that, 3 CCIW conference wins are bringing this game to make them so much more confident to face these Augustana Vikings and a team that they absolutely need to take this game here at home.
She's Gina Veneer. I'm Tim Calderwood with you for both contests today as Elmhurst and Augustana prepping for a twin bill of basketball on this Saturday evening. Augustana's men's team is ranked number 3 in the nation and unbeaten. Their best start in school history. We'll talk about them at halftime to preview the men's contest. There's a great crowd on hand this evening as the Blue Jays looking to keep their winning streak alive here at R.A. Faginal Hall this evening. Elmhurst on deck next week. Will head down to Milliken, and then they will host Illinois Wesleyan. So a couple of very tough games coming up next week, which is why a victory here today is very important. Megan Ney will jump center along with Brianna Skeens for Augustana. And we're underway. Tip is easily controlled by the Blue Jays. The Sky Blue Unis. Ney, left of the lane, backing her way in. A little too strong off of the glass. Controlling is Kristen Fox.
Well, talking to Coach Warner before tonight's game, Tim, she had a lot of thoughts about controlling the Augustana team here. They're actually missing a major part of their team in number 24, Natalie Runge. She was out after the Carthage game, so Elmhurst is thinking that they're going to play a zone defense and going to just try to come out on this Vikings basketball team very strong.
And Fox will take to the basket as Augustana scores first. It is a 2-0 advantage. Here come the Blue Jays, breaking a press pretty easily as Megan Merklin scoops it in. First meeting down in Rock Island on January 8th required overtime. 65-62 was the final. Elmhurst had a 17-point second-half lead evaporate. Gina, that's kind of similar to what happened at North Central on Tuesday night as well.
Taking them into overtime, the Blue Jays were just happy to go away both of those games with wins. Down the stretch in basketball games like that, that is when you define what type of team that you are. And Coach Warner is definitely pleased with the efforts in her team.
Elmhurst 9-9 overall, 4-3 in the CCIW. The Vikings turn it over. And Augustana showing a little pressure here against the Blue Jays, trying to force them perhaps into some early mistakes. Good crowd assembled across the way, have made their trek up from Rock Island, about 2.5 hours. Rock Island, one of the Quad Cities, right along the Mississippi River. Wide open is C.J. Harris. Merklin throws it away instead with the shot clock winding down. Indecision. One of the things that has plagued this Elmhurst team, Gina, has been slow starts.
There are definitely times when this team takes a little bit to get things in a rhythm. And right now is the time to kind of come after this team. As we know, the last time these two got together, the Vikings were not going to go down easily. And that's why Elmhurst is hoping to get a huge lead here at the beginning, come out very strong.
Kristen Fox with their basket from 19 foot with a foot on the line. 4-2 is the advantage as Rashida Joyner dribbles up the floor and is pushed from behind. Charge it to Whitney Miller, her first. It's the first foul of the contest. As the calendar prepares to turn towards February, one of the things for Elmhurst, a lot of road games upcoming. 4 of the final 6 after today will be on the road. Nave works her way into the lane, attempts once, rebounds, tries again, and Fox will clean up for Augustana. Whitney Miller to the free throw line. Rotating around the arc. Augustana is a very patient team as they work into the post. Skeens challenged by Merklin. And away comes Joyner, leading a 3-on-2. Joyner looking to kick, and the Vikings with their hands in the passing lane force a turnover.
We've seen a lot of back and forth play since the beginning of this game, Tim, here, and coming down in the first 3 minutes, just back and forth as Vikings and Blue Jays just continue to fight.
Kristen Fox picking up the dribble with 15 to shoot. 4-2, Augustana with the lead. Almost 3 minutes into the first half as Warnkin steps out of bounds. We have our first substitution of the ball game. Jessica Bades is in, a freshman out of Carroll Stream. Played at West Chicago High School, former teammate there with Kelsey Monroe on the Blue Jays. Augustana right now just doing enough to bother the Blue Jays. Rashida Joyner looking up, guiding the offense, knifing towards the hole, fakes left, back to the right, nope. Harris in the lane with a rebound, out to Ney at the elbow, 15-footer rims out. And the basket for Whitney Miller. Elmhurst is not converting on those second opportunities here.
No, they really aren't, and we're seeing a lot of power out of Megan Ney, and that sometimes can come to her downfall. She's so physically fit. Sometimes she over-pushes herself and in turn can't get the basket to fall.
Bades, one dribble with 10 to shoot, back towards Miller. Miller with 5 to shoot, lobbing in the lane for the open Skeens, nope. And a foul upcoming. It is against Augustana, I believe. At least they signaled that way. Indeed it is, against Skeens. And another sub for the Vikings, Molly Etheridge. Bobby Endress, the head coach of the Vikings, still with a relatively young team. Only senior starter is Kristen Fox. Elizabeth Phillips re-enters for the Vikings. Elmhurst content with the starting five so far. 16-10 in the first. A 4-2 Augustana lead.
Well, I like the starting five that Coach Warner has put out in this Blue Jay team. We're seeing a lot of depth and switching things up a bit.
There's the strength of Megan Ney.
Having, of course, Megan Merklin in the lineup as a consistent, solid player, as she's shown, especially the past few games. Big players come out in big games, and Megan Merklin is the poster child of that saying.
Whitney Miller along the baseline fails to convert. Here comes the break for the Blue Jays. Monroe to the hole, too strong. Harris, though, rips away the rebound. That's why she's in the game. Here's Monroe again off the glass short. A third opportunity for Ney, counted at a foul.
Wow.
Tathy Werner has said consistently that starting is a privilege for this Elmhurst team, and you need to deserve to start to be on the floor. That's why in the last few weeks she's changed up that starting lineup.
Yes, she has. We have seen just a lot of switching going on, and CJ Harris being one of those players that has made a name for herself on this basketball team, and that is exactly why. Those second effort rebounds, those hustle plays, whipping out the ball to the top of the key to find one of her teammates and to get things continued to go their way for the Blue Jays.
Elmhurst takes the lead at 7-4. Here's Fox for three, short. Sheeta Joyner racing away again. Joyner gonna take all the way, floats it home in the lane. 9-4 as the Blue Jays taking control here in the first half, 5 minutes in. Swatted away from Fox. Joyner looking to lob towards Ney. Posting up, low left, and a foul. It's already the fourth foul against Augustana and the second against Jessica Bades. Megan Ney converting on the free throw. She is now 2 of 2 from the line today. Elmhurst is a very solid free throw shooting team at 72%. Megan Ney is 77% shooter. Looking to make it 3 of 3, short. Elizabeth Phillips boxes out. Off the foot of Etheridge. Here comes Joyner again. Pulling up, leaning in. Nope. And Etheridge, who committed the turnover, dribbles away and draws the foul. A 10-4 lead for Elmhurst. The first foul against the Blue Jays. Don't forget, we'll have the men's contest coming your way as well. 7:30 tip. Blue Jays host the number 3 team in the nation. Off a screen, curls Etheridge. She'll try the three, rimming to the right. Schwartman, who has just entered for Elmhurst, with the rebound. And now it is Schwartman in transition, swinging to Monroe. Little long. Well, the Blue Jays have had plenty of opportunities here in transition, perhaps almost a little too quickly on some of their looks, though.
It was a good look there by Kelsey Monroe, and they're doing a good job of, again, like you said, getting those open looks. It's just making sure that they're taking quality shots and being very confident being able to make the shots, of course.
Augustana's not helping themselves out at all as Megan Ney finishes on the other end, and a 30-second timeout for Augustana. Pretty much been one and done for the Vikings on the offensive end.
Yes, this is a team that Coach Warner coming into the game said, look, we need to take care of the ball. At times, Augustana can be scrappy, but let's get around that right at the start, and they're expecting to just continue to take it to them, as we've seen here in the first few minutes of this game.
Megan Ney already with 8 points for Elmhurst as the Blue Jays lead 12-4 on the board with 13:42 to play. Augustana is just 2 for their first 10. And been out-rebounded 11-7 early on as well. Christina Howard has entered for Augustana. Jordan Maisto is on the hardwood for the Blue Jays. Staples looking to lob. Starts to move. Lobbing in the lane towards Howard, who lost it. Turnover number 4 for Augustana. Let's take a look at the CCIW standings entering play today. Illinois Wesleyan 7-0. They're 15-3 overall. Milliken and Wheaton tied for second with identical 5-2 marks by virtue of Wheaton's rebound win over Milliken on Tuesday evening. With that after the Thunder had dropped consecutive games, including one here last Saturday, as Monroe drills it from the left corner. Carthage and Elmhurst tied at 4-3. North Park 2-5. North Central 1-6. And Augustana 0-7. One final already in today. Milliken a 20-point victor at home over North Park. Other ball games, Carthage is at Illinois Wesleyan, 6 o'clock tip there, and North Central is at Wheaton. 15-6 the count, 12:48 and a half, as Schwartman works her way around her defender and uses the glass. Kim Schwartman has shown a proficiency to be able to score off the bench for Elmhurst. A double-digit lead for the Blue Jays, 17-6. A with her hands reaching it over the back of Howard, and it will prompt the whistle. Second against the Blue Jays, the first charge Sine, who heads to the bench. Stephanie Mitchell will take her slot. Monroe, Mitchell, Schwartman, Maisto, and Merklin for Elmhurst. Let's see how the Blue Jays respond now with Ney out of the ball game after such a solid start for the junior. Going to have to find some scoring in another area. Miller moves left. Swings it into the corner for Fox. Miller again looking for help. Monroe all over her defensively. Bouncing for Howard. Mitchell reaches in for the steal. It's knocked away and Merklin collects.
But what we've seen, Tim, in the first 8 minutes of this game is simply converting on turnovers, and as Maisto's trying to do so herself, but an excellent job here on defense and being able to get the ball and being aggressive against the Vikings team. Great job by the Blue Jays.
You have to be aggressive in a game like this. It's so much on the line against a team that has yet to win a conference game. You can't afford an opportunity to let them hang around. Absolutely.
Augustana coming into this game just hoping to put a win in the column of the CCIW for themselves. I mean, they're 0-7 right now, and Elmhurst is trying to simply take advantage of that, win at home, take this one away, and continue to build on their CCIW record.
8 losses in a row for Augustana. There have been some close ones during that streak, which we'll talk about in mere moments. Shot clock is at 11 for Maisto, throwing it away. Howard to the floor, gobbles it up. They lost in overtime at home to Elmhurst. They also have a 9-point loss at North Park and a 4-point home loss to North Central in tight contests for Augustana this season. CCIW opened the season with 5 straight losses before winning 3 in a row. They've just struggled to kind of get into a flow this year. 5 to shoot, Miller to hurry. Into the lane for Skeens, off to the left. And Monroe is fouled on the rebound.
Well, Tim, you talked about Augustana probably being very frustrated with their season so far, and the record, of course, bringing in the facts on that. But, boy, the Elmhurst-Augie game, I think, in itself, Augustana trying to get back in an overtime game that Megan Merklin put the Blue Jays in, able to win that game. But Kim Schwartman came in and scored 10 of Elmhurst's 13 points, and Schwartman also led with a total of 19 points in that game. Kristen Fox played an excellent game for Augie, and her frustrations are definitely going to be coming out. And she is wanting revenge on this team, as is the rest of them.
Schwartman will try from the left corner. Long And a frustration foul on the rebound. This is the 54th meeting all-time between Elmhurst and Augustana. Augustana leads the all-time series 35-18, but the Blue Jays over the last 8 years have won 14 of 15, including 8 in a row headed into the matchup here this evening. And they currently lead by 9 as we near the midway point of the first half.
It's always nice to bring in a little history between these two teams and kind of see how the whole contest have played out in the past, well, lots of years against the many matchups between these two teams. But of course, with the help of Lindsay Long, 8 in a row for the Blue Jays.
Fox travels. Devin Vaughn has entered for Elmhurst, her first appearance of the day. Talk about a freshman who's been steadily improving. Devin Vaughn fits the mold there.
Absolutely. Devin Vaughn has came in and showed that even as a freshman, and as well as Jordan Maisto, who we've seen her face on the floor a lot of times, but Vaughn, 3.9 points per game, the freshman out of North Aurora. She's just trying to hope that she can be a strong player on this program.
Nice move for Miller, taking to the basket, throwing it up and in as well, with a fist pump off a make. First free throws of the game for Augustana. Devin Vaughn, who we talked about moments ago, whistled for the foul, and she will head to the bench. Another freshman taking her place in the form of Lauren Rhodes. Well, Megan Ney is back in as well, and the Blue Jays struggled a bit without Ney on the floor, who scored those 8 points early on. Augustana 65% from the line as a team. Whitney Miller, a 63% shooter, long, but nobody boxes out Kristen Fox, and she misses the gimme second opportunity. Joyner pacing the offense. Lobbing for Ney, surrounded. A little too strong off the glass. Schwartman there to help. Her attempt is long as well. Cheney Tambling with a rebound for Augustana. And another traveling violation will once again hand it to the Blue Jays.
That was a great effort by Rashida Joyner there to get in front of the Vikings and just kind of put a little pressure on them and force the travel. And now in the hands of the Blue Jays, we'll see what they do with it on this set.
7 turnovers in the game for Augustana. And yet they only find themselves down by 7 points here in the first half. Rhodes on the move. Kelsey McCullough is on her hip. And it's thrown away for the 5th Elmhurst turnover. And a timeout for the Blue Jays. 30-second timeout. Elmhurst spending its first of the contest. Tethany Warner is not a happy camper. Augustana shooting 33% of the ball game, 5 of 15. Elmhurst at 35%, 7 of 20 in the game to this point. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/ElmhurstBlueJay. That's where you'll get all the results and information about Elmhurst College athletics. Schedule for Blue Jay TV will also be posted. ElmhurstBlueJays.com. You can check on all of the Elmhurst College athletic programs there. Rosters, schedules, stats, stories, so much more available. Our exclusive internet home of Elmhurst College athletics. Miller out of the timeout into the lanes. 13-footer drops in.
Well, from what I was able to read from the lips of Coach Warner on the sidelines, just kind of huddling in her team and just simply saying, get it together, ladies. And that's exactly what they have to do right here against this Viking team now. The Vikings are within 5 here. Lots of time to play in this first half, but as we know from the previous meeting, this team will not go down easy.
Really? You can read lips all the way from up here?
It's a special superhuman power.
Harris strong to the basket and an offensive foul. C.J. Harris with her first.
It may have helped him that she said, get it together twice. And that was as she was storming into her girls after calling the timeout. So Coach Warner is definitely giving advice that is much needed right now in this game, as we're seeing the Vikings be that scrappy team that she anticipated they'd be.
Rhodes on the move, bouncing for Joyner in the corner. Merklin will clear out to Harris in the left corner, three-pointer. Long into the Augustana bench. Rhodes fails to save it. 7:53 in the first. Augustana hanging around. Despite falling behind by double digits early in the half, they're only down by 5 and with the basketball here. Miller bouncing towards Mikula. The Vikings looking to lob. Have had problems trying to get it inside today. Fighting again is tangling with Merklin. Down to 10. Here's Miller. Driving, surrounded. Forced to bounce out for Fox. Fox hurrying. Leaning in from 13. Swish. 17-14. The lead's down to 3.
Augustana is a team, Tim, that sets a lot of screens. They like a lot of movement on offense, and that is something Coach Warner expected her team to pick up on. And she said, look, we need to communicate, especially on defense against this team, to try to control them.
Joyner long for Harris, who did her best to save it. But the Vikings can tie it with a 3. Miller picks up the dribble. Fox down to 10 to shoot. At the elbow, Tamblin. Behind her again towards Fox. 3 for the tie is good. We're even at 17. And a timeout for Elmhurst. It's a full one. And with 6:40 to play in the half, we break with the score even, 17 aside. This is Blue Jay TV.
I'd probably say being on the tennis team is the first one. I get along with the guys really well. We just got back from our spring break trip in Hilton Head. That was really fun. It was good team bonding. A lot of people are friendly. I haven't met too many non-friendly people, I'd say. Everybody's pretty welcoming. The life around here, I'd say, is pretty good. I have a job off campus. I teach tennis for kids. My coach helped me out with it. He worked there when he was in high school. I mean, I try to do as much as I can while I'm here.
Tim Calderwood alongside Gina Veneer on the campus of Elmhurst College. R.A. Fagnall Hall is the site for what's been a very entertaining first half thus far, with a score even at 17 aside. And Gina, Augustana, simply put, just has not given up in this ballgame.
Well, we're seeing that the absence of Natalie Runge is not exactly being missed right now with the help of a lot of outside shooters on this Vikings team. They're doing their part. They're doing their job, stepping up for a player that's missing. And, hey, they're competing. They're battling against this Blue Jay team here at home.
Merklin fakes off the drive. Harris will drive instead along the baseline, up and in. No look for Etheridge. A little too cute, perhaps. Bades chasing it down. It is off of Elmhurst. Warnkin will be the inbounder with 6:12 to play in the half. Wide open for Etheridge. Spinning. Popping from 15. And Merklin taps the rebound to Harris. Merklin back to Harris. In the lane it is Ney, and 3 seconds. 3 seconds is one of those things that a lot of times you don't realize as a player.
Well, it's kind of something that you just naturally have to have that sort of instinct to know to get out of the lane, but a fundamental mistake there now is putting the ball back in the hands of the Vikings at a time that the Blue Jays don't need them to get any more second chances.
Yes, but turnovers have been a problem for Augustana as the Vikings throw it away. We've mentioned a lot of the turnovers for Augustana because the Blue Jays have led it directly into points on the
Right.
offensive end, but at the same time, now looking at the numbers, the turnovers are even at 8 aside, and Augustana, that's one of the biggest reasons why they've come back into this contest.
Right, and Elmhurst is doing their part in getting them to force the turnovers, and they're also doing a good job of converting, but what they need to do is control themselves in the turnover department.
Harris along the baseline, rimming out. Monroe on the weak side is there, lobbing for Ney, looking to draw the contact with Howard to no avail. 5:12 in the half. 19-17. Elmhurst with the advantage. Howard in the lane, rimming out. Offensive rebound. And a double dribble. So glad you're with us on Blue Jay TV today. Megan Fitz for Elmhurst, a freshman out of Byron, Illinois. Her first appearance of the half. Fitz, Merklin, Joyner, Monroe, and Ney. The 5 for Elmhurst. Augustana countering with Allie Skaggs, Molly Etheridge, Kristen Warnkin, Brianna Skeens, and also Elizabeth Phillips. Here is Skeens to the basket. Knew it was off the mark, attempt to keep it alive, and did so long enough for her teammates to help out.
Good hand there by Skeens to get the turnover, force the turnover, and now, boy and boy, back and forth we're seeing here, Tim.
It is an offensive foul charged to Allie Skaggs, her first, team foul number 6. So the next one will place the Blue Jays at the line here in the first half. With 4:32 remaining. Elmhurst up 2, and the Vikings continue to press. Little problems for Elmhurst. It's a 3-on-1. Maisto bouncing for Merklin outside the lane, up and in.
Great pass there by Maisto. Way to go on pushing the ball up the floor and finding Merklin right underneath the basket where she needed to be.
Staples will try a 3, rimming out. Megan Merklin is surrounded and throws it off of an Augustana player. Moments ago, that basket from Merklin, that's kind of the trade-off and the risk you have to take in running that press. A lot of times it's going to lead to a 2-on-1, 3-on-1 rush.
Absolutely, and that's exactly when Elmhurst needs to identify the press immediately, set up a play in order to break it in, and of course do exactly what they did on that last set and find Megan Merklin down low.
Merklin bouncing for Ney in the lane, backing her way in, spinning, partially blocked by Phillips. It stays with Elmhurst, 16 to shoot at the 4-minute mark. Elmhurst looking to build on a 4-point edge. Fitz denied on the drive. Sets a screen for Ney. Now here's Maisto down the center of the lane. And Jordan Maisto will be stepping to the line.
Scrappy little one, isn't she?
Maisto has started 9 ball games for the Blue Jays this year. A freshman out of St. Charles who played at Burlington Central High School, averaging 2.2 points per ball game. She is an 81% free throw shooter, 13 of 16, and the friendly roll just wasn't there. It rimmed off. Speaking of rolls, I was just watching moments ago. Did you see Earl Boykin's shot earlier this week, I should say, for the Milwaukee Bucks? I'm going to find it for you at halftime. It hung on the rim for about as long as humanly possible before falling through.
It didn't. Was that the game not against the Bulls, was it?
No.
No.
I'll pull it up for you at halftime.
All right.
It was pretty impressive how long it spun around on the rim.
Wow.
Maisto splits the pair, 22 out of 17. Miller, outside the lane, will pull up over the top of Monroe, and it's off the back iron. Fitz with a rebound, throws it away. It's stolen by Miller, and now Fitz commits the foul. That's going to happen sometimes with a freshman, although you hate to keep using that excuse, and this is the second go-round through the CCIW schedule now, but you commit the turnover and then just fail to get in the right position defensively off of the turnover.
Well, now Coach Warner having a few words with Fitz and just kind of walking it through her, taking that play back with her again and saying, look, this is the mistake that you made. Let's fix it. Let's not make it happen again. And that's exactly the style of Coach Warner, to kind of have a lot of respect for her players and bring her over. And as a freshman, you need that. You need that sort of guidance. after simple mistakes are made.
Whitney Miller is one of only 2 Augustana players to have started all 18 ball games this year. Kristen Fox is the other. 46 free throw attempts this year, tied for second on the squad. Perfect on 2 to bring the Vikings within 22-19 with 3:21 to play. Miller on the hip of Maisto. Over to Monroe on the left wing. Monroe driving out to Merklin. 19-footer is through.
Nice. Merklin proving that she can be that inside and outside shooter that Coach Warner recruited at the beginning of her career, and now adding more points to the board for the Blue Jays.
That's what's so nice about the Merklin-Ney combination. You would think Merklin with her size would be a post-up player, but her and Ney feed off of each other well because they both have the ability to shoot from both inside and out. And today specifically, they've been kind of allowing Merklin on the outside and Ney on the inside. Augustana to beat the shot clock. Will try the quick 3. Staples no. But you cannot give a team a second chance after such a solid defensive possession. Here is Fox for 3. High archer. And it hit off of the overhang. Alyssa Neitzel entering for Augustana, her first appearance today. Senior out of Shorewood, Illinois. And Jessica Bades returns as well. And the Vikings will press again. It's Miller against Maisto, one-on-one, and Maisto trying to use her speed. Miller sticks with it. Here's Merklin in the lane. Off the back iron, but there's the inside presence of Megan Merklin we were talking about moments ago. As we reach 2 minutes to play in the first half. 24-19 Elmhurst. Miller is all by herself with the ball above her head. Starting to move. Out towards Bades, leaning in, and it's taken away.
Great block there by Megan Ney to get the ball back in her team's hands now with under 2 minutes to play in this first half. Elmhurst looking to just continue to add.
Merklin, the CCIW's co-player of the week, will try a 3 at the left turn. It's short off the front iron. And here come the Vikings again. Tambling, wing left, hits from 13. 24-21. It's the Maisto-Miller battle again. This belongs to Maisto, who shuttles it into the corner for Monroe. Fox steps in with the steal. Maisto comes in, and what a play by Jordan Maisto. We've talked about her speed. Maisto used her speed to come in from behind Fox and knock the ball away.
Well, after a mistake committed by Maisto, what an effort. And her timing, I think, Tim, is important to note right there. She knew exactly when to go after that ball in order for a foul not to be charged on her, and, of course, the ball to not go in the hoop for Fox.
Kelsey Monroe does not wear the dark blue, but she does try to take all the way to the basket, but turns it over. And Tethany Warner is not in the slightest bit pleased about how that call went. And the Vikings were scrambling to try to keep it in. How could it be their basketball? We are under a minute to play in the half in what is a 3-point Elmhurst lead. Ney stepping in front of the posting Bades. Joyner around a screen from Monroe to the right side for Fitz. Here's Merklin off the glass, no, but free throws upcoming. Megan Merklin led the CCIW in free throw percentage last season. She's an 82% shooter this year, 46 of 56 at the line.
Megan Merklin, just an impressive player overall, and somebody that has added so much to this team. The junior out of Plainfield, 12.6 points per game. 5.1 rebounds. We talked earlier about her presence on the inside as well as the outside for this team. And the junior just always coming through for her coach and her team.
Merklin hitting both free throws. And they'll leave the shot clock on, though there's only 1/10 of a second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. With Elmhurst up by 5, 26-21. Augustana will hold for the final opportunity here, but instead an offensive foul. And it is whistled against Jessica Bades, who turns around and stares in disbelief. That is the third foul charged to Bades, who quickly exits. Skeens returns along with Howard. (19 7/10 to play in the half. Pressure from the Vikings, who kick the entry pass. Fitz outlets to Schwartman. 3-on-2 into the left corner for Merklin. Three-pointer short. Rebound to Etheridge. Plenty of time for Augie. Skeens to the right side for Fox. Down to 3 seconds. Here is Miller. An 18-footer to beat the buzzer. An air ball. And heading to the half, it is Elmhurst 26 and Augustana 21. For the Blue Jays, Gina roared out to a solid start, opening a double-digit lead. But Augustana made clear that they will not be going away in the ball game here today.
Well, it was a first half of turnovers and a quick first half at that, Tim. Lots of back and forth play between these two teams. The fouls were definitely there, but they were limited. And now Coach Warner's got to be pleased coming into the locker room with her girls right now with a 5-point lead. Now, she had a lot more at the beginning of this game. The frustration obviously came after she called the timeout. But getting things together again and 5 points going into the second half isn't bad.
26-21 is the score. Coming up at the break, we'll talk about the other scores around the CCIW. We'll mention what else is happening in the world of Elmhurst College athletics. And, of course, we'll have the first half numbers and analysis. At the break, Elmhurst 26, Augustana 21. This is Blue Jay TV.
Had a great experience at Elmhurst. I'm obviously involved with the volleyball program. We're like sisters. It was instant friends as soon as I came here. Every year, the seniors get to pick places where we want to go for a tournament. So we've been to California, Colorado, Boston, and it's just been a fun experience because not only do we play volleyball, we also get to do touristy types of things. I would say we're pretty close because we practice 5 days a week for 2.5 hours. We're lifting, we're doing bonding things, and we're traveling on the weekends. So you're pretty much with these girls for 3 months every single day for hours. So we're all pretty close.
We're actually really good this year. There's 23 of us on the team, so it's quite a large team. We were close friends. A lot of the teammates lived together with other teammates. In high school, I wasn't like the most organized person because sports were just kind of like a side note in high school. Here, you have to really balance yourself. Division III, it's more academics first, softball second. So our coach really strives on the academic portion of the school. And, just like yesterday, we had a game. I went to class and came late to the game instead, but the game was canceled, luckily. Like, softball's really kind of taught me some organization skills, I guess. We're actually really good this year. There's 23 of us on the team, so it's quite a large team.
JTV, Tim Calderwood alongside Gina Vernier. 26-21 is the score at the half. Elmhurst leading by 5 as we take a look at some of the other scores from around the College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin today. A final for you, Milliken 68, North Park 48. The Big Blue keeping the grips on the second slot in the CCIW, which they are currently tied with Wheaton presently. Wheaton will host North Central. That contest tipping off in about 12 minutes or so, scheduled for a 6 o'clock start. Meanwhile, kind of a surprising score at the half in Bloomington. Illinois Wesleyan being doubled up by Carthage. Are we playing football? 28-14 is the score at halftime. It is not easy to hold Illinois Wesleyan to 14 first-half points, but Carthage is doing a very solid job in what could be a huge win for them if they can hang on.
Well, this is a CCIW conference that is always tight in games, and we're seeing that right now, Tim, in this game between the Blue Jays and the Vikings here of Augustana. Elmhurst going into the second half, though, they've got to be somewhat pleased with the overall play. But as we knew, Augustana was going to come in here being a very scrappy team, and they've actually have the advantage on turnovers, leading to more points on turnovers than Blue Jays. But it's been a first half of lots of turnovers.
We'll run down some full numbers for you in a bit. But Gina, what have you seen from Elmhurst of late? They've kind of been a different team over the last 2 weeks.
Well, Coach Warner talked about playing as a whole, and she was so pleased with the game. Huge win against Wheaton last Saturday, and she's hoping that that kind of turns into what this game will turn out to. Playing as a team, and she said it was a simple concept, but something that can bring a lot of success into basketball teams, and that is a simple thing to do, is just play as a team and know that you're out there to do just that.
We'll talk about what else is happening in the world of Elmhurst College athletics in just moments. This is Blue Jay TV.
I wasn't sure getting out of high school if I wanted to bowl in college, but after I graduated high school, I knew that there wasn't any way I was going to not be able to do it. So I'm glad that I came to Elmhurst because it gave me that chance. Last year was a good year, had the first winning record for the team. I really like being on the team. It brings a lot of people together and it makes it a lot easier to meet other people. We're with each other 24/7 on the weekends when we have tournaments and like 3 days a week for practice. Some of us work out together, go to dinner together. It's nice having those close friends to always fall back on if you need something, and they're always willing to help.
Back at R.A. Fagottle Hall, halftime. Tim Calderwood and Gina Veneer. Elmhurst leading 26-21. Let's take a look at what else is happening in the world of Elmhurst College athletics. And Gina, we'll start with the men's basketball team, who is coming off of a tough loss to North Central on the road Wednesday. They have a daunting challenge in front of them here with the third-ranked team in the nation and the 18-0 Augustana College Vikings coming up with a tip-off at 7:30.
Well, it's definitely going to be an entertaining game, as we've seen this one between Augustana and Elmhurst. As always, any games in the CCIW conference are big ones, and Coach Scheer and his team are already here supporting these women's basketball team now, but I think just getting prepared as they know a huge challenge is about them.
Augustana has a stranglehold on the CCIW standings right now, basically a 3-game lead across the board, so they are in golden shape as the second half of the conference schedule begins today. Let's talk about the other Elmhurst College winter sports. How about the men's and women's track and field team? Well, their season opens today as they are at the University of Chicago. Never too early to start thinking track and field.
Burr, that's all I have to say about
it's
that,
indoors,
though.
indoors.
Okay, good. Still, they're training all the time, and you see them running around campus, and it's freezing cold out, but nothing stops them, I swear.
Hey, the thoughts of spring have to be in the air. You got to be starting up soon with softball, right?
Actually, we are. We're starting practice on Sunday night, so the season gets right underway tomorrow night, actually. Unbelievable.
And baseball will be starting at the same time as well, so the spring sports getting a jump start on the 2011 campaigns. Meanwhile, the wrestlers today, they competed at Wheaton, put together 75 points, and took home 8th in the Pete Wilson Invitational hosted by Wheaton College. Just 5.5 points behind Olivet College, who finished 7th. Lindenwood University captured the team championship with 131 points. Mark Corsello remained unbeaten on the season, finishing 5-0 to capture the individual championship at 285 pounds. He was the only Blue Jay to win a championship. Other place winners, Joe Rao, he finished 3rd at 184. Larry Baca was 6th at 141. Jake Denhoff, 8th at 133. Frank Savignago, 8th at 174. And just to let you know, we will have some wrestling coming up for you here on Blue Jay TV as we cover the CCIW Championships coming up in a few weeks' time. here at R.A. Fagel Hall, as Elmhurst will be hosting those, and we will have for you the championship round live right here on Blue Jay TV, so it should be an exciting time there as well. Looking ahead on the schedule for the Blue Jay wrestlers, up next, Augustana College on February 3rd, and then the CCIW Championships February 10th, as we talked about. So the season is wrapping up quickly for the wrestling squad as they look to finish strong with the postseason upcoming, the conference meet, the regionals, and then the NCAA championships as well. Here at R.A. Fagel Hall, Elmhurst leading by 5. First half numbers and the start of the second half in just moments on Blue Jay TV.
The balance with athletics in school, it's just, with me, I did it all throughout high school, so I needed to do sports in order to stay focused. I run cross country in the fall and track in the spring. I was injured my freshman year and I just felt like so off track. It didn't feel natural. Like, I think a lot of the students coming from high school and coming to D3, it's like what they need to stay focused. I mean, if you could do it in high school, you could do it here. The bigger schools, you don't have the coach time like you do here. You can just join the team and just have fun. We actually just went to Tennessee for a spring break trip, so it was different. It was a lot of fun being able to travel. We had 2 first place finishes, so it was kind of impressive. It's nice having like that other family aside from being at home, because you're with them all the time. Don't be afraid to go out there and try new things.
Doubleheader action here at R.A. Fagel Hall as the women opening our doubleheader against Augustana College, leading 26-21 at the break. Turnovers, the big story of the first half. Not just one-sided either. Augustana with 13 turnovers, Elmhurst with 12. But what's interesting about that, Gina, when you look at the numbers a little closer, Augustana has turned those 12 Elmhurst turnovers into 11 points, while those 13 Viking turnovers have led to only 7 points for Elmhurst. And if those turnovers are going to keep coming, that's a number that has to increase for the Blue Jays if they want to put this Augustana squad away.
Absolutely, and it's been a first half of turnovers. We've talked about it for sure, and now what we saw what we saw coming out from the Blue Jays was a team that came out with about 7 minutes left in halftime, and they're just ready to play and ready to take home this game for sure. They're not going to try to give up. No mercy in the second half, and of course, trying to limit their turnovers will be key in the second half.
Augustana basketball to begin the second, and speaking of turnovers, first possession of the second half results in a Vikings turnover. Elmhurst out-rebounded Augustana 22-21 in the first half. 6 offensive rebounds for Elmhurst, 7 for Augustana. I'll finish my thought on that in just a moment, as Ney will try from the elbow to open the scoring in the second half to no avail. So 13 combined offensive rebounds. And the other number that really stood out to me in the first half, Gina, just 6 combined second chance points, 2 for Augustana and 4 for Elmhurst. Plenty of second chances are coming, but points are not resulting. Here's Fox with a second chance for Augustana, high off the glass. No, a case in point right there.
Well, second efforts, second chance points can lead to victories with teams. It's fundamental, and it's a good practice to have, and we're seeing it on both sides, but we're not seeing a lot of success coming from that. Blue Jays, again, hoping that they can be the team to have an upper hand on that as well.
Harris in the lane, short. Fox failing to control the rebound. A jump ball is called, and Elmhurst will have possession. Three-point shooting, also difficult for each team in the opening 20 minutes of play. Augustana only 1 of 9, Elmhurst 1 of 6. Augustana shot 28% in the first half, while the Blue Jays registered a 34% mark in the contest. There were 3 ties and a lead change. A minute and a half into the second, and neither team has been able to score. It remains a 26-21 edge for Elmhurst, which is where it was at the break. And Whitney Miller will have the opportunity to change that heading to the stripe.
Well, Kristen Fox has definitely made her presence known here on this Vikings team. However, only 9 points in the first half, a player that consistently comes through during basketball games, but she is definitely somebody that they need to keep an eye on. 9 points, 5 rebounds in the first half. But overall, this Vikings team has only shot 28% from the floor, so defense could be another huge key for the Blue Jays.
Whitney Miller hitting free throw number 1. She is the only Augustana player to have stepped to the line in the ball game and is now 4 of 5 as the Vikings have trimmed it to 3, 26-23, and they will put some pressure on the Blue Jays, and I don't think Megan Ney is who you want handling the ball. Nothing against her ball handling skills, but in a trap situation, a pressure situation, you want the ball in the hands of your guards. How about Fox? Right around Joyner to the basket. No, though. Joyner did everything she could defensively, and now she'll lead the break ahead to Monroe, who finishes.
Great lead pass there by Rashida Joyner. Wow, seeing Kelsey Monroe in the open lane, left-handed layup, nice job.
Leading scorers for Elmhurst, 8 points each from Megan Ney and Megan Merklin in the first half. 9 for Kristen Fox and 8 for Whitney Miller. Here's a three-pointer on the left edge from Warnkin, well off the mark. And Ney at the elbow controls. Merklin looking to push. No look for Monroe. Left corner three-pointer off the back iron. Are these quick shots playing right into the hands of Augustana here?
It looks like it, and we are not wasting too much time on offensive sets, and we're seeing the ball continually back in this Vikings hand. Another chance for them.
Warnkin banks home a three-pointer.
And there you have it, Tim. Now this Vikings team is within 2. The closest they've been to having a lead here in this basketball game. Elmhurst has really got to step up the focus and feed the ball into the inside.
28-26, and Ney travels. Elmhurst with only 2 points in the first 3:03 of the half.
Well, Joyner and Ney now going to be out, and Ney was a great presence in the first half, and obviously she's just seeing a little bit of frustration coming, and she was at the top of the key with the ball there, Tim, something that you said, hey, look, get it off to a guard and let them handle the ball at the top of the key and work your way to the inside like she does best.
Warnkin in the left corner for the lead. 29-28 Augustana. Consecutive three-pointers for Warnkin. Mitchell, baseline right from 15. Rebound tapped out by Monroe and collected by Warnkin, whose consecutive triples have put the Vikings in the lead. Skeens tied up in the lane, and a foul upcoming against Elmhurst. Charge it to Stephanie Mitchell. That is her first, and the second on the Blue Jays. Looking at the foul counts, Brianna Skeens with 2 first-half fouls for Augustana, 3 for Jessica Bades. And no Elmhurst players with 2, so fouls have not really been a problem right now.
Everyone just kind of waiting to hear who this one's on, and it's Jordan Maisto picking up that foul.
Miller inbounding. Bouncing to the right edge for Tambling, off the glass and in. Augustana adding to the lead, 31-28.
Well, and here comes the pressure, and pressure that's going to be definitely tough. Elmhurst doing a great job, though, breaking it.
And a blocking foul. Megan Merklin attempted to go coast to coast. Second foul to Tambling. Megan Merklin shooting 2. First free throw attempt is in. Merklin was perfect 2 of 2 in the first half. Kim Schwartman will enter. Schwartman, Maisto, Monroe, Merklin, and Mitchell for the Blue Jays. Fox returning for Augustana, joining Skeens, Pecora, who's entered for the first time today, Tambling, and Miller. The free throws pull the Vikings lead down to 1 at 31-30. 4 minutes into the second half. Augustana message received from head coach Bobby Endres. Fox well short with a three-pointer. Schwartman looking to fight her way through traffic is fouled. It's on Kristen Fox.
Well, it's not a bad foul there by Fox to just kind of control the pace that Elmhurst was looking to drive on that last possession. And now forcing Elmhurst to get into a set and hoping that, now Elmhurst is definitely hoping that this reset can come to their advantage.
Maisto at the left turn. A three-pointer is good.
Maisto seeing an open shot, an open opportunity, and taking it by the reins. Wow, great job by the freshman.
Just her third three-pointer of the season. She was 2 of 14 before that attempt, and it gives the Blue Jays the lead at 33-31. They change hands again here in the second half. Fox spinning. A little too strong over the top of Schwartman. It's Maisto on the weak side coming away. Schwartman driving, trying a 16-footer, stop and pop. And a lot of contact on the rebound. Let's see who this will go against. They'll charge it to Schwartman.
Schwartman a little banged up after that one and just screaming off to one of the Vikings defenders. A lot of pain. It looked like she landed really hard on her knee. And you can see it in her face that the pain is frustrating. She's going to stick it out and stay in this game and hope to play some tight defense against this possession here for the Vikings.
Kind of a compromising spot to be in. Can't imagine what it's like for football players to have 7 or 8 guys piled on top of you at once and just have to sit there until the referees can clear it up. In fact, I read earlier this season, not to change sports drastically, but I read earlier this season as Augustana travels that there's a lot of nasty stuff that happens underneath those piles. Forget what team it was, but they were saying the New Orleans Saints tend to be quite a bit dirty trying to come with a loose ball. Schwartman fakes left, comes back right, spinning, Earl Boykins-esque, rolling out. Didn't get the break, though, and Gina, I did have an opportunity to show you that Boykins spinner.
Between about 4 and 5 of those, the rolls that we just saw around the rim there, and fortunately for him, the roll was indeed friendly.
Elmhurst continuing to lead 33-31. Staples surrounded, climbing over the back is Schwartman tying up, but a timeout first. It is a 30-second timeout for Augustana. The Vikings are winless in the CCIW. 0-7 entering play today with 14:33 remaining. Gina, the Vikings have done a very good job coming out here at the start of the second half and kind of setting their tempo to the ball game. Say what you will about that. Elmhurst on the flip side has kind of weathered the storm as well, and they've been able to take the lead again.
Well, by no means would you think that this Vikings team had no wins in the CCIW conference, 0-7 coming into this game, but they're definitely not showing anything like their record. And as we expected, a scrappy team coming out of these Vikings, and they are showing a lot of aggressive play and not allowing the Blue Jays to get too much of a lead, to get too comfortable. But Coach Warner, of course, is looking for that. You can see her stress, a little bit of frustration coming over on the sidelines from Coach Warner.
17 to shoot as Augustana inbounds the ball to Staples. Crossing over, working to the right for Etheridge. 25 feet away from the bucket with 5 to shoot. To the hole, it is Bades tossing it up as the foul comes. And free throws upcoming for Bades, the first Augustana player not named Miller to step to the line today. First foul against Megan Merklin. It's already the 5th against Elmhurst. And the free throw attempt fails to drop in for Bades. 2 starts this season. 65% shooter at the line, 39 of 60. She has more free throws attempted than any member of this Augustana squad, splitting the pair. Bring the Vikings within 1, 33-32, a pencil-thin margin here in the second half.
Lots of time left in this game, a little bit over 14 minutes, Tim, and I think fouls and turnovers like that one is something that Elmhurst has to control, allow themselves to regain their focus, regain a little bit of strength here down the stretch, and come at this team like they did in the first few minutes of the game.
We were talking a little bit about freshmen at this point of the season, and we mentioned Megan Fitz specifically in the first half. Jordan Maisto there committed the turnover, and right away pointed at herself, said, "That's on me. I'm sorry, my fault. I won't do it next time." And it's Maisto with the ball in her hands, crossing the center line. 13:40 to play. Elmhurst by 1. Monroe off a screen, open at the top, off the back iron, chasing down the rebound, and Etheridge reels it in. Fox holding, lobbing for Bades. In the lane, jump stop, spinning through, but a travel.
Big break there for Elmhurst, traveling call, and what would have been an extra 2 points for Augustana, and now a chance to regain possession and do something with this set.
Glad you're with us on Blue Jay TV. Don't forget a men's contest, 7:30 start. Same two teams, Elmhurst and Augustana, ranked number 3 in the D3Hoops.com top 25. A perfect 18-0 and a perfect 7-0 in the first go-round through the CCIW. Mitchell backing her way in, unloading for Monroe. Plenty of time to work with for Elmhurst as the shot clock creeps down towards 10 seconds. Joyner in the lane. Runner from 7 feet to the right edge. And Elizabeth Phillips with a rebound for the Vikings. Opportunity for Augustana to take the lead as Staples dribbles and a foul is called.
Stephanie Mitchell not happy with that one, as she seemed to be getting tied up down low there and just trying to play good defense. But, you know, you've got to shake it off, as we saw Jordan Meister do with mistakes, and get right back in the game.
The second against Mitchell, sophomore out of Roscommon, Michigan. Fox in trouble, lost it off of her leg. Phillips recovers and is long on the right wing. Nobody on the rebound except for Megan Ney, weak side all by herself. 12.5 remaining. Joyner to Ney between the circles. It's Joyner again, leading it for Schwartman in the lane. Ney contacts with Elizabeth Phillips.
Good drive there by Megan Ney. Very good defense by the Vikings, and just with the last few seconds there on the shot clock coming down, committing the foul, putting Ney at the line. And of course, she's hoping that the lead can go a little higher than 1 point against this aggressive Viking team.
Megan Ney 2 of 3 in the first half from the free throw line. She got off to such a solid start for the Blue Jays. Kept shooting, but has kind of been struggling a bit from the floor of late. She hits both free throws, was only 3 of 10 in the first half. But she does own 10 rebounds in the ball game. And now double-digit points as well, so a double-double for Ney. Here's Fox, three-pointer and a foul. 35 all. The referee to the table conferring it was a 3. And a push will place Fox at the line, looking to hand Augustana the advantage. It is on Kim Schwartman. The officiating crew today, John Horn, Darren Pullins, and Danita Lee Johnson. Fox with a dozen for Augustana.
Well, if that doesn't get your team pumped up and motivated, nothing will. Fox, a solid player for this Augustana team, showing why she belongs as a starter, a big-time starter for this Vikings team, but the Blue Jays have got to control it.
No siree on the attempt to give the Vikings the lead. Devin Vaughn has checked in for Elmhurst. Mitchell targeting Ney. Surrounded, left of the paint. Vaughn on the right side with 10 to shoot, tripped up. Kristen Fox with her second foul. That is just the 4th against Augustana. Vaughn for 3. Away with it comes Phillips, leading Fox, slowing it up. Phillips at the free throw line, all the way to the hole, around two defenders. 37-35, Augustana with the lead.
Taking the lead, Tim, as you just said, but boy, what we saw in that last set is just we needed a little bit of extra help defense there and at a quicker pace by Stephanie Mitchell to help avoid that easy shot.
First basket of the game for Phillips. The ball is on the floor. Ney is fighting to keep it alive. Locates Vaughn in the lane. Little too tough. And Augustana looking to add to the lead. 2 points has been their largest lead of the game. And perhaps a little bit too quick of a shot for the liking of Bobby Endress.
Lots of time left in this game, but we're seeing the Vikings just starting to take control. And right now what they need to do, the Blue Jays, is just do that themselves. Tighter defense, a lot more focus on offensive sets, and we'll see what they can do with it here.
Stephanie Warner chatting with Devin Vaughn, who returns to the bench. Maisto for Ney, back to Maisto with 15 to shoot. Merklin is posting in the lane. Joyner in the lane for Ney from 12. Off the front of the rim. Fox with her 10th rebound of the game.
Can't seem to catch a break right now, Tim. These Blue Jays struggling.
A double-double for Kristen Fox. Schemes. Baseline right and a travel. Still haven't even reached the midway point of the second half here in Elmhurst. Augustana 37, Elmhurst 35. Sheena Joyner taking her time. Short, rebound, blocked. Jessica Bades in there. Ney to the floor, foul. Elmhurst not giving up.
Well, that's Augustana's 5th foul, doing better than the Blue Jays in that regard. However, good efforts there by the Blue Jays underneath the basket to make sure that the ball stays in their hands, and an opportunity here to put themselves back, at least tie this ball game back up, as we've seen Augustana just doing an excellent job coming back and fighting as a basketball team, and Elmhurst doing their part as well, but we'll see what happens on this set.
Past the midway point of the second half, a 30-second timeout for Elmhurst. Stephanie Warner attempting to kind of adjust things a little bit here for the Blue Jays, who are down 2 at home against this feisty Augustana squad. 37-35.
Just under 10 minutes, lots of time in this ball game here for the Blue Jays at home, and Coach Warner, you can see her biting her nails over there, getting a little bit worried about this one, a game that they absolutely need to take.
Merklin spinning, no. Those shots have got to start to fall. Handing off for Etheridge. Working on Joyner. Back to Makula. The wing right. Off the back iron from 16. And Joyner wrestling away the rebound.
Well, we've seen the Blue Jays very cold on offense, and all it takes is one player. Could be Kelsey Monroe. It just takes one player to start that spark, to start a fire, and get them back to the hot shooting that they came out at the beginning of this game with.
37 aside. Miller to Etheridge, moving left and throwing the basketball away. Monroe scoops it up. Ney in the lane and through. The Blue Jays take the lead. 39-37, a good job of identifying Megan Ney on the floor.
She's there, you just got to find her. She's always hungry, always willing to put the shot up when her team needs it most.
Jessica Bades, a little short, but a rebound for Etheridge. She spins her way around some defenders and evens the score at 39. 8:18 to play. Maisto dribbling. Here's Merklin in the lane, and Skeens is on her. A traveling violation against Merklin. Moving those feet.
Boy, oh boy, tight defense there by Skeens. Noteworthy there for her to get Merklin to travel, but man, that could have been an excellent opportunity for the Blue Jays to continue to try to get something started here.
Even at 39 with 8:10 to play. Elmhurst seeking their 4th win in a row, while Augustana looking to snap an 8-game slide. One streak will end and one will continue. Spades foul. That statement didn't make any sense. Augustana looking to end 2 streaks, while Elmhurst looking to keep 2 streaks alive. That's better.
There you go. It could happen somehow. But absolutely, good point there, Tim. Augustana is hoping that they can just come into this game and pick up their first conference win, but the Blue Jays need something a little bit more, and obviously the team that we're rooting for is the team that's 4-3 in conference, just 500 in their regular record.
Check in on the other scores around the CCIW in moments as the free throw is short. 9 minutes to play in the first half. North Central leading Wheaton 20-17. Illinois Wesleyan has chipped the Carthage lead down to 9 with 6:46 to go at 50-41. And as we mentioned, Milliken victorious at home earlier today. 7:40 to play. The Vikings by 1. C.J. Harris into Merklin. Beautiful set play, a basket, and a harm to go with it. The 4th foul to Jessica Bades. And Megan Merklin looking for a 2-point Elmhurst lead. Yes. 42-40.
Well, with what started to be a game that we thought Elmhurst was going to easily take away, as they've seen in the past playing this Augustana team, it's not going to be an easy task to complete. And now it's going to come down probably to the last few minutes or even potentially seconds of this game to find out who's going to come out on top.
It's been a highly entertaining contest. Bobby Endress signaling for a timeout. They'll grant it with 7:25 to play after an Augustana turnover. Elmhurst 42, Augustana 40, and we step aside on Blue Jay TV.
I've had a great experience at Elmhurst. I really have. I think that the college is all about making the individual well-rounded, and I do think that I have grown up a lot since I've been at college. I've played soccer and I'm in the nursing program. Kind of everything just fell together. The team was just so nice and welcome. My freshman year we went to Brazil for preseason, and that was the coolest thing ever. So it was just our team. We stayed at this big soccer resort, and there was all these fields and all these little kids playing, and then we just had our own field, and we played against different Brazilian teams. It's been great, and I've made so many new friends. The soccer aspect, I think that I've kind of got a family there, and I just love it.
$7:25 to play. 42-40 is the score here at R.A. Bagenal Hall. Elmhurst with the lead and the basketball out of the timeout. Both coaches doing their best to manage things here late in the contest. And each has 3 timeouts with which to work.
Wow, Fox implementing excellent defense there on Maisto, having to bring in Rashida Joyner to take the reins on the ball. Right off the timeout, we're seeing Vikings being extra aggressive.
A foul is called. It is on Phillips. That is her third. It's C.J. Harris shooting free throws. Each team is in the bonus. Harris shooting a pair for the Blue Jays. Her first attempts today. Good. In the first half, we spent some time talking about what Tethany Warner has explained time and time again, that being a starter is a privilege. Well, C.J. Harris is kind of a player that you can say kind of looks identical to the way Augustana plays, and that she's a scrappy player. We don't always get, a lot of points or rebounds out of, but she's always around the basketball, averaging 4.6 points per game and 3 rebounds per ball game. That's why she's in the lineup for the Blue Jays. Tambling left it in the lane for Fox. 43-42. Down to 1 on the advantage with 6:43 remaining. Joyner backing up to Merklin. Open at the left turn for 3. Knew it was off the mark. Attempted to chase it down. Harris falling out of bounds. Stepped out.
Always a good idea, no matter how good the shot may feel, to follow your shot. Megan Merklin doing a good job at that. Unfortunately, that three-pointer could have been a huge drop for them. But defense has now definitely got to step it up.
The Vikings with an opportunity to snag the lead. Fox, 40 feet away. Will locate Phillips. A high for Miller, backing up with 10 to shoot. Miller on the move, outside the lane, throws up the 13-footer. Fox tips it away from Harris, but it goes out of bounds in the process. Three on 2 for Elmhurst. Harris taking to the hole, up and in.
Boy, a player that you just talked about, Tim, and C.J. Harris, and she is proving why she belongs to be out on the floor tonight.
Senior out of Calumet Park, Illinois. Down to 5:45 to play. 45-42. Answering is Tambling. Lots of trading buckets here.
Trading buckets, of course, and now something to note also, just the fact that both teams are in bonus with a little over 5 minutes to play. Any foul committed will put the opposing team on the line, and we're seeing that now in Megan Ney.
Speaking of, you must have ESPN or something. Steal a line from my favorite movie, Mean Girls.
Yes.
Yes, I'm not afraid to admit it.
I picked up on that one.
I love Lindsay Lohan. Megan Ney, 1-1, good. 12 points and 11 rebounds for Ney. As the free throw is short and rebound is chased down by Miller in front of the Elmhurst bench. 5:20 to play, 2-point Elmhurst lead. Staples has it kicked. Substitutions for Augustana. Gianna Pecora and Molly Etheridge return. Likewise for Kristen Warnkin, whose three-pointers at the start of the second half ignited Augustana. They rallied from a 5-point halftime deficit and have led on more than one occasion here in the second. Warnkin in the corner for 3 off the top of the glass. Pecora will follow it up. That's short. And the rebound is last touched by Harris.
Well, it's going to stay in Augustana's possession. Another chance here to reset and do something on offense. Only down by 2 points now, a little over 5 minutes to play. We'll see what type of play they set up, if it's again going to be a long 3-point shot. Looks just like a reset.
Pecora, baseline right. Clearing out to the top of the key. Etheridge for 3, rimming out. Megan Ney with rebound number 12. Blue Jays are being out-rebounded by Augustana today. Kind of a surprise. But don't blame Megan Ney for that. Merklin short in the lane, and the rebound will stay with the Blue Jays. Augustana is actually a pretty good rebounding team, one of the strengths of their squads this year. They've out-rebounded opponents by over a 1 rebound per ball game. 4:37 to play. Harris in for Joyner, scoops it up and in. 48-44, pretty move from Rashida Joyner.
Nice to see that out of Joyner, making her name known in this ball game, which is something that somebody needs to step up and continue to do down the stretch.
Pecora dribbles left, leaves it for Etheridge. Three-pointer is good. It's the 5th make from bonus distance for Augustana today. And the Viking fans are loving it across from us here in Elmhurst. Joyner picks up her dribble and recovers.
Well, something that they have to definitely control is those 3-point shots now for the Blue Jays.
Out of bounds to Augustana off the Namath. 48-47, a 1-point lead. And a timeout for Elmhurst. 3:49 to play in a tight one here today. We step aside. This is Blue Jay TV.
I wasn't sure getting out of high school if I wanted to bowl in college, but after I graduated high school, I knew that there wasn't any way I was going to not be able to do it. So I'm glad that I came to Elmhurst because it gave me that chance. Last year was a good year, had the first winning record for the team. I really like being on the team. It brings a lot of people together and it makes it a lot easier to meet other people. We're with each other 24/7 on the weekends when we have tournaments and like 3 days a week for practice. Some of us work out together, go to dinner together. It's nice having those close friends to always fall back on if you need something, and they're always willing to help.
.349 to play in Elmhurst. Tim Calderwood alongside Gina Vanier in a tight one. A 1-point lead for the hosts at 48-47. Stephanie Warner spending a timeout here as the Blue Jays, boy, they've had plenty of opportunities to put this game away. The shots have not been falling here in the second half.
Well, it goes to kudos to this Augustana team for coming out very strong in the second half, and Blue Jays just kind of going cold on offense, but hey, there's a lot of time left in this game. They are up by 1.
And lest we forget, Augustana has shown a tendency to turn the ball over. That is the 19th of the game for the Vikings. Elmhurst has turned it over 15 times today. 3.5 to play. Joyner working on Miller. Finds Harris down the center of the lane. Count it, and a foul.
Great job there by C.J. Harris, a player that we've been talking about the last few minutes of this game. And what I like most is she doesn't think too much. She just takes it up without too much thought to it. And a lot of times, you know, you want to definitely get your focus and know what you're doing. But at times, it's okay to just let loose, relax, and go with what feels right, and CJ does a good job of that.
Number 2 on Molly Etheridge. Harris's free throw is short. She has 7 points for the Blue Jays today. Majority of those coming here in the second as Fox tries the baseline. Short. Harris falling away, throws the rebound away. Etheridge is bothered as well. The 9th against Elmhurst.
Harris looking for somebody in the backcourt there for the Blue Jays. Couldn't find anyone, had a lot of hang time on that rebound, but now another opportunity here for the Vikings.
Etheridge shooting 2. Off to the right with attempt number 1. Etheridge is 62% shooter this year, 26 of 42. Missed them both. Megan Ney is there again on the scene. Solid rebounding exhibition for Megan Ney today. Joyner trying the left side of the lane. Clearing out, back to Joyner. A little strong off the glass, back up and in.
Strong finish there by Joyner, putting her team up now by 5 points with 2.5 minutes to play.
How about that roll? Came out and then dropped back through for the Blue Jays. We do lead by 5 at 52-47. Etheridge to Phillips. Shot clock down to 10. Phillips on the left wing with 5 to shoot. Is trapped. Looks for Etheridge. Jump stop in the lane. Short off the front iron. Rebounds on the floor. It is a jump ball, and Augustana owns possession of the arrow. So with 2:01 to play, the arrow will switch over to Elmhurst. As Miller inbounds to Fox, wide open and hitting from 17.
Well, it was completely obvious that out-of-bounds play was set up and designed for Miss Fox. And she completes and now makes this game even tighter at 3 points.
52-49. Warnkin nearly recorded the steal. Here's Ney. Off the back iron. A foul on the rebound. Going against Elmhurst. Free throws the other way for Augustana. Keeping track of Illinois Wesleyan, trailing, I should say, at home, 58-49 with 1:05 to play. Be a big win for Carthage, the first loss of the season for Illinois Wesleyan in the CCIW if the score holds.
Well, as I mentioned before, Tim, fouls could be a key to this game, whether in the advantage or the disadvantage of one of these two teams, but both teams now in double bonus, allowing for sure 2 shots in free points opportunities for these teams. And now Fox is definitely not one you want on the line, making it now within 2.
16 points for Fox today. And another free throw is in. Timeout Augustana, 1:32 to play. 52-51. The second half has been tight. In fact, the halftime margin was 5 points in favor of Elmhurst. The lead has not been that distant here in the second half since. Thus it means a very good contest as we zoom in on the Augustana huddle. Bobby Endress chatting with one of her assistants before joining the squad with 1:32 to play. Don't forget men's basketball coming up next here on Blue Jay TV, 7:30 tip. Same 2 schools, Elmhurst and Augustana.
Well, the 2 teams trickling out, watching to see what's going to happen at the end of this ball game, but the boys of the men's basketball team, I should say, are definitely ready to get on the floor, and I'm sure are anxious after watching such a close game between their 2 teams on the women's side of things.
They are warming up in the auxiliary gym as we speak, but they'll have plenty of time to ready themselves for the matchup here. 52-51 the score with 1:32 to play. Augustana has been pressuring throughout the contest. I would be shocked if we did not see the Vikings pressure here as well.
Well, you called it for sure. They're going to be putting a lot of pressure on this team, hoping for a turnover.
Boy,
not getting it.
Warnkin undressed Harris and almost came away with the ball. That's a good job of Harris of sticking with it. Joyner has it blocked. Phillips with a piece. And Warnkin, who nearly recorded the steals moments ago, comes up with the basketball. Augustana down 1 with 1:08 to play in possession. Fox by herself to the basket, attempted to draw the foul, and Harris will take her time underneath. A timeout for Elmhurst with 54.7 to play. It's a full one and we break. 52-51, Elmhurst with the lead. This is Blue Jay TV.
Had a great experience at Elmhurst. I really have. I think that the college is all about making the individual well-rounded, and I do think that I have grown up a lot since I've been at college. I played soccer and I'm in the nursing program. Kind of everything just fell together. The team was just so nice and welcome. My freshman year we went to Brazil for preseason, and that was the coolest thing ever. So it was just our team. We stayed at this big soccer resort, and there was all these fields and all these little kids playing, and then we just had our own field, and we played against different Brazilian teams. It's been great, and I've made so many new friends. The soccer aspect, I think that I've kind of got a family there, and I just love it.
$54.7 left. In a 1-point game, Elmhurst with the lead. And the ball as well. Megan Merklin, the inbounder for the Blue Jays. Jordan Maisto will waltz it across half court. 15 to shoot for Harris. Jump stop on the right side. And C.J. Harris will make her way to the free throw line.
Good drive there by Harris with just under a minute here to play. And it's plays like that, Tim, that you need players to step up and have that sense of confidence, drive to the basket, know that they're going to get on the line even with a simple foul committed, whether they go up for a shot or not, and that's going to put Harris at the line now. C.J.
Harris, 1 of 3 from the free throw line today, missing. 3-year letter winner. Starting for the first time in her career with the Blue Jays this season. A big attempt coming. And good. So 3 would put the Vikings in front and a 2 would tie it. 37 seconds. Phillips working on Ney. Over to Fox. Help defense coming in. Monroe knocks it away.
Great job there by Kelsey Monroe. Vikings are going to be able to refocus here with 26 seconds left. However, only 14 seconds on the shot clock after that one trickles out of bounds.
Bobby Endress is jumping on the Augustana bench. Miller ties it with a 19.3. Here's the question with the shot clock off. Do you take a timeout or do you let it run?
And
Blue Jays have a timeout, and they will use it here with 10 seconds left.
And you know what, Tim? I think that's an excellent call by Coach Warner. We'll see if it brings her success to her and her team. But an opportunity here with 10.1 seconds to play. This thing is all tied up. Shot clock has gone dark. Both of these teams in bonus foul opportunities here could happen, but that's exactly what the Vikings coach is talking about over here. No fouls here on this possession, and they're hoping that the Blue Jays can somehow not, make something happen here. But what we're seeing is an opportunity for the team to sit down. Coach Warner just talking to her coaches at this point. But the girls able to kind of get control of themselves and get excited about the opportunity that lies ahead of them.
Twice this season, the Blue Jays have been in buzzer-beating situations. Against Franklin, a 72-70 overtime loss in the first home game of the season for the Blue Jays. Kelsey Monroe buried a three-pointer at the buzzer to send it to OT. And in the first meeting against Augustana, it was Megan Merklin at the buzzer with a three-pointer to tie the game after Elmhurst failed to hold a 17-point lead. The three-pointer forced overtime, and Elmhurst won in OT, 65-62. since the score's tied, I think you can use every bit of the 10.1 on the clock here. Rashida Joyner will inbound.
Finding Merklin here. Back to Joyner. Here we go.
Joyner throws it up. Off the glass, no. Out of bounds. Staying with Elmhurst.
All right. Another opportunity. Interesting play call there, but I think it was a good one. Joyner coming around the basket, trying to either force a foul or hope that the shot goes down.
4 3/10. Harris to Ney. Wide open for the win. Short. And we are headed for overtime. Tied at 53 tonight in Elmhurst. The Blue Jays with not one but 2 attempts to win it in regulation. First, Rashida Joyner, and then as it was knocked out of bounds, Megan Ney. Neither fell, and 5 extra minutes are on the clock. Tied at 53. We'll have OT coming your way in moments on Blue Jay TV.
We're actually really good this year. There's 23 of us on the team, so it's quite a large team. We were close friends. A lot of the teammates lived together with other teammates. In high school, I wasn't like the most organized person because sports were just kind of like a side note in high school. Here, you have to really balance yourself. Division III, it's more academics first, softball second. So our coach really strives on the academic portion of the school. And, I mean, just like yesterday, we had a game. I went to class and came late to the game instead, but the game was canceled, luckily. Like, softball really kind of taught me some organization skills, I guess.
Fourth overtime game of the season for Elmhurst. The Blue Jays are 2-1 in those games currently. Ironically, one of those 2 overtime wins was over this very same Augustana squad. Gina, Augustana did not go away in the second half.
They certainly didn't. Both of the times that these two teams have met overtime, as you mentioned, Tim. Now the Blue Jays hoping that instead of taking one at Rock Island, they also take one here at home in Elmhurst. We'll see how it all plays out. We got 5 minutes to go. Should be exciting.
Second overtime game in a row for Elmhurst, the second of the week, as they won in overtime at North Central after failing to hold on to a 14-point second-half lead on Tuesday evening. Augustana will open with a basketball here in our extra frame. Warnkin, Miller, Phillips, Fox, and Tambling, the 5 for the Vikings. Here is Tambling from 16. Warnkin with an offensive rebound, dribbles her way out of the lane.
Well, for those that bought an admission ticket here in RA Fagnall Hall, it's called free basketball. For those of you tuned into BlueJayTV.com, you've just got a little extra game to watch as well.
Out of bounds, stays with Augustana. Should be noted that in the overtime ball game against Augustana, the Blue Jays came out roaring. Fox with an air ball. Elmhurst scored 13 points, and 10 of those belonged to Kim Schwartman, who added 19 to lead Elmhurst in the ballgame. Schwartman is not on the floor. It is Ney, Merklin, Harris, Joyner, and Monroe. And Ney is a little strong to the hole. Neither team has scored in the first minute of our extra session.
Well, somebody who's been a definite factor in this game for the Vikings in Kristen Fox, and she faced Augustana in the loss at home to Elmhurst with a game-high 22 points. Tonight she's got 18 here entering overtime.
And it is Whitney Miller who will have free throws upcoming. Kristen Fox with a double-double for Augustana, 10 rebounds to go with those 18 points. Megan Ney charged with foul number 4. Something to keep your eye on. The foul counts in each of these squads as the free throw from Miller puts the Vikings ahead. Phillips with 4 fouls. Jessica Bades with 4 fouls for Augustana. Meanwhile, for the Blue Jays, Megan Ney is the only player with 4 fouls. In fact, Kim Schwartman has 3. So not a whole lot of foul problems for the Blue Jays, who now trail 55-53.
Just to note for our viewers, timeouts left in this game. Augustana's got 3, and Elmhurst only with a single timeout left.
Of course, they used all of their timeouts in regulation as Merklin evens the score off of a feed from Monroe. But in overtime, you do receive an additional timeout. Fox, head and shoulder move. Waits for Miller, who bounces in the lane. Miller again. Down to 13 to shoot. Bouncing towards the post. Tambling leads Fox to the basket and collects an offensive rebound. Here is Warnkin for three. It's an air ball. And it's Megan Ney chasing it down with another rebound for the Blue Jays. 14 rebounds for Megan Ney today to go along with 13 points.
Opportunity there for the game winner, but Megan Ney back in it here at overtime. 2.5 to play. She could, of course, be a huge factor as well as the other Megan on the floor, Megan Merklin, and putting her team up now by 2.
Merklin with 17 for the Blue Jays. 57-55. Warnkin in the corner, passing on a three. The Blue Jays have done a good job since the start of the second half of defending against her. Meanwhile, they leave open Phillips on the baseline, who's 16-footer. It's off the mark and out of bounds to the Blue Jays.
Well, I think, Tim, pretty much since second half on, this is how the game has been, just back and forth, a lot of excitement, a lot of entertainment, a lot of aggressive play between both of these two teams coming into tonight's game, but even more the second half and now overtime, of course, even more tight.
Merklin faked the baseball toss, and it is Joyner who will sachet across. Ney in the lane. Free throws upcoming for Ney, who is 5 of 7 from there today.
Good spin move there by Ney, finding herself at the free throw line, going to be able to reset her team.
And the 5th foul on Jessica Bates. She becomes the first player to foul out today. No substitution of yet. The honor will belong to Elizabeth Phillips, who enters with 1:45 left in OT. Two free throws for Ney. The Blue Jays are 13 of 19 at the line today, and the free throw from Ney is off the front iron. 13 points, 14 rebounds for Megan Ney. And neither free throw is good. Phillips collects the rebound. Augustana will have an opportunity to tie it up. Instead, they try for the lead. Pecora's three-pointer, no. Ney with rebound number 15. And here comes Joyner, slowing it up. We've had only 3 baskets here in overtime.
All right.
2 belonging to Elmhurst and 1 to Augustana, who scored the first bucket of this extra session. 3rd foul on Kristen Fox, and now it's Megan Merklin's turn to step to the line. She's 5 of 5 today. And I jinxed it. Free throws become so big late in a ball game. Merklin ready again and good. 58-55. Whitney Miller picks up her dribble. Swings to Pecora, who works her way around the arc. Now it's Fox on the move to the basket, up and in. Kristen Fox for the Vikings pulls them within 1, and Elmhurst again alertly goes towards the rack.
It was a great job there by Joyner to bring the ball up after the Fox made shot. By no means did they want this team, they wanted to take advantage of a simple celebration, really, if the Vikings were going to have any. And Joyner pushes the ball up, finds Monroe on the left side. But man, I've talked about free throws in the second half, just seeing that the free throw count was getting up higher and that it could play a huge part in this game. And we have seen a few very important free throw shots missed by this Blue Jay team. Now, though, up by a 2-possession game, fortunately, after that Monroe make.
59-57 with less than a minute to play in overtime. Miller by herself on the left wing, splash from 18. Scoreboard watching, Carthage was victorious down in Bloomington today, 63-55, handing Illinois Wesleyan the first loss of the CCIW slate.
Wow.
Meanwhile, it is Wheaton leading North Central early in the second half, 36-34. Here's Ney, and some more free throws upcoming for the Blue Jays.
Wow.
Man, oh man, are the Augustana coaches upset. Wow.
Just absolutely have to mention C.J. Harris there, getting that ball from, avoiding it from going out of bounds and finding somebody open in the backcourt. But that could have been something that could have been a complete turn of events, and now instead, with this one all tied up, Megan Ney an opportunity to put her team ahead once again.
Elizabeth Phillips fouls out. 2 players have now fouled out of the game for Augustana. She will be replaced by Cheney Tambling. 31.6 free throws for Ney, and the first one is good. A big free throw upcoming. Ney with 14 points and now 15, 61-59. 1 second difference between the shot clock and the game clock here in overtime. I think if you're Augustana, you use 15 to 20 seconds here. Instead, they find the wide open Brianna Skeens to tie the score. Wait a minute. What's happening here? A turnover. Megan Ney on the baseline tried to throw it off the back of Brianna Skeens, stepped to her left, and a turnover is called, handing the ball to Augustana, although the officials will confer here.
Wow. Simply just waiting on the confirmation of this call amongst the referees, and yes, possession of Augustana. Well, here we go.
The Vikings can win the game. Now, I think you hold for the final shot. With 17 seconds remaining, the shot clock is off, and the officials will talk it over again.
Some time added to the clock, I think, is kind of what they're confirming now.
18.1. And a timeout for Augustana. And remember, they do have 3 here in overtime, so they will likely draw something up here. And if it works unsuccessfully, they can use another timeout. 61 all is the score, with 18.1 remaining. And the Vikings are fired up on the sideline.
Well, you can't blame a Miller really coming through for this Vikings basketball team. We saw it in the long stretch of the second half. She made a big shot. The junior out of Clinton, Iowa, with 6.3 points per game. But Whitney Miller, I think, is definitely alongside of Fox, somebody to give credit to this team battling.
(61-61), and again, this is just the first of a doubleheader here on Blue Jay TV. Men's basketball action tips at 7:30. That's the scheduled tip time. The Vikings continuing to talk it over. Let's take a look at some potential targets for Augustana as they break the floor. With Tambling, Pecora, Fox, Warnkin, and the inbounder, Miller. Miller's 5 of 15. Tambling's 3 of 4. Fox is 8 of 21. I find it hard to believe that the ball is going to anybody but Kristen Fox in this situation.
And she's going to start with things off, and Warnkin now at the top. It could be anybody's chance here.
Down to 10 seconds. Miller looks to the bench. Do they want to use a timeout? They won't. Miller back to Tambling. And a shot in the corner for the win. No. 3-point look for Gianna Pecora, who was wide open in the corner. And we will head to overtime number 2, even at 61.
Well, Pecora, really the candidate that you didn't expect to get the ball. Gianna Pecora, the sophomore out of Darien, Illinois, but she gets the opportunity there to put her Vikings team ahead, and of course, here we go. It's double overtime again, making things even more exciting between these two
has
games.
not scored today, so that was a little surprising.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you find yourself that wide open, you're not going to leave that opportunity there.
Right, and of course with the shot clock running down, no time left in the first overtime is now going to put 5 minutes back on the clock. And we'll see here. We've got a few players that have fouled out for Augustana, but the Blue Jays doing okay on fouls. No one is in terrible trouble or dangerous trouble. Megan Ney is the only one who has 3 fouls at this point, but of course both teams in double bonus. So we saw it come down to, it may have just come down to those foul shots and not converting.
She's Gina Veneer. I'm Tim Calderwood. We're headed for a second overtime here at Elmhurst in the women's basketball opener to our doubleheader today. Even at 61. The one thing I will say that was kind of surprising for Augustana was the fact that they didn't use one of those 2 timeouts they had, especially when they started to scramble a bit with 5 seconds. You can take a timeout there and still have plenty of time to draw up another look.
Well, the turnover call definitely came in their favor when we saw Megan Ney take the ball out of bounds. And then 18 seconds back on the clock, definitely a chance to resettle and have another timeout, but they chose otherwise. And here we go, more play.
And so we'll jump again. Ney and Skeens in the center circle. Ney taps it back to Harris. And the Blue Jays in overtime number 2. This is the first double OT game of the season for Elmhurst.
Well, one thing is for certain, you define what type of basketball team you are, how strong you are, how physically fit you are, and how much practice plays a part in games that go into double overtime, even simply an overtime game. You can define what type of basketball team you are, and both of these teams trying to do just that.
Augustana takes the lead. Pecora, who missed the 3-pointer for the win, puts the Vikings on the board here in the second OT, 63-61. This is the second overtime game of the year for the Vikings, who lost to Elmhurst earlier this year. How about Megan Merklin, counted in a foul.
Big-time spin move, big shot for Megan Merklin, finding herself on the baseline, sliding there, and now at the free throw line for an opportunity for the 3-point play.
And the 4th foul to Cheney Tamblin. So she has 4. 2 players have fouled out for Augustana. That being Elizabeth Phillips and Jessica Bates. Meanwhile, Megan Ney with 4 fouls for Elmhurst. The only player in trouble, Megan Merklin, with 20 points in the ball game. Tying Kristen Fox for the game high, and now 21. As she will put the Blue Jays ahead with a 3-point play, 64-63. Pecora handing off to Fox. Joyner watches, Tambling screens. Fox bounces for Miller. Right of the lane, bounces for Tambling. Fadeaway 13-footer. Didn't hit anything, it's an air ball. And with 3:50 remaining in the second overtime, it is Elmhurst with the ball. Harris lobbing for Merklin. Didn't want it. Back in again. Here is Merklin, up and in.
Hey, give it to me again. Let me try that thing again. Just must not have been feeling it on that first opportunity, but Megan Merklin, great job on the second opportunity.
Reminds me of Semi-Pro and Will Ferrell. You're not feeling it. You don't want it.
Give it back. Give it back. Yes.
66-63. Miller hits. And a timeout for Augustana. Yes, I am well versed in pop culture and all things movies, folks. With 3:16 to play in overtime number 2, Elmhurst 66, Augustana 65. As we step aside on Blue Jay TV.
It's been great. I've been able to achieve some of my goals I've set for myself, and I guess coming to a smaller school in wrestling, I got to be able to start right away and wrestle every year so far. Coming here and be able to compete right away is great. Since coming here in wrestling, I'm a 3-time All-American. I won a national championship this year, went undefeated, 2-time conference champion, conference outstanding wrestler this year. Me and Coach Bernard are pretty close. I go in there all the time and talk to him, not just about wrestling. And since coming here, I've been able to relate closer to my team and the coaches and stuff.
Thanks to our crew here on Blue Jay TV. Women's basketball action. Elmhurst and Augustana. Men's contest will follow. Scheduled for a 7:30 start, although it looks like that may be delayed a bit due to the overtime contest here as Kim Schwartman enters for Elmhurst out of a stoppage. Each team with 2 timeouts to play. The possession arrow belongs to Augustana. Both teams are in the super bonus with 3:02 to play in our second overtime. Elmhurst missed 2 opportunities to win in regulation as Harris attempts the 3-pointer. Augustana in overtime missed a 3-pointer for the win. So each team has had a chance. Who will it be here in the second overtime?
Well, it's anybody's guess at this point. Fans trickling in to watch the men's game as well. Getting some exciting basketball. And there she is again, Kristen Fox, adding to her points total tonight.
Came into the ball game averaging under 13 a game, 12.9. However, she is the leading scorer for Augustana. Suffice it to say, she has crossed that today as Joyner's shot is off to the right. Rebound on the ground. Harris falling away and throwing it away. 23 points for Fox in the ball game and 10 rebounds as well. 13 rebounds make it. I was looking at 10 defensive rebounds. My goodness.
Big steal there for C.J. Harris coming up from behind the Vikings player. And now another opportunity here for the Blue Jays.
And Joyner taking it to the hole. Sensing the contact coming with 1:55 left. Whitney Miller with the foul for Augustana. Her second, and Rashida Joyner shooting for the tie.
Well, C.J. Harris, after taking a couple of risky 3-point shots for her team, did a good job shaking it off, getting back. She's going to see the bench now as Monroe's going to check in for her. However, C.J. Harris did a good job getting the ball back in the hands of the Blue Jays on that steal.
First visit to the line today for Rashida Joyner. She missed on the first attempt. Joyner just a 22% shooter, 4 of 18 from the free throw line, and neither goes in. Augustana with the rebound and less than 2 minutes to play in overtime number 2. Augustana looking to snap an 8-game losing streak as Miller takes. Ney fighting for the rebound, taps it to Merklin, who controls. Here's Schwartman. Schwartman with 10 points in overtime in Rock Island. Her first appearance in overtime here tonight. And heading to the free throw line, looking to tie it up.
Nice job there by Schwartman, the sophomore coming in. I'm going to drive straight to the basket. And knowing even if I get a foul on the way, I'm going to find myself at the free throw line. Down by 2 points here, this Blue Jay team is. And we'll see if Kim can help out in that regard.
Yes, these teams did play in overtime on January 8th in Rock Island. It was the first CCIW victory for Elmhurst. Schwartman to tie the score does. 68 all with 1:25 to play.
Well, we know why Kim Schwartman came into the game, to do just that. Drive to the basket, foul line, 2 points, and this thing's all tied up again.
Down to 1:15 remaining in double OT. Miller backing up, fakes left, moves right, through traffic, pulls up, short from 15, follows the shot. Off the glass, no. It's on the floor. Miller again, and a third opportunity for Augustana. With less than a minute to play in double OT.
Here we go again, Tim.
Pecora starts to move. Trying the right side, bouncing for Tambling. Setting a screen for Fox with 9 to shoot. Out to Miller. Miller over the top of Schwartman. Short. It's loose. Who can secure it? Nobody. A fourth chance coming for Augustana, and the shot clock is off with 30 seconds left in double overtime. For the second consecutive extra frame, Augustana will have a chance to win it. And with 2 timeouts remaining, the Vikings spend 1 here. Yikes. 68 all. Tim Calderwood alongside Gina Vanier in what's been a very exciting ball game. Well, Gina, in the first overtime, Gianna Pecora received the call. Now you have 1 timeout left, but there's 30 seconds to go in the game. Plenty of time for Augustana here to try to set something up to win the contest. What do you look for?
Well, you look for a shooter in Kristen Fox or Whitney Miller. I think both of these 2 players have a lot of confidence coming into both overtimes, and seeing that they've done it all game long, they're going to try to get it in the hands of one of those 2 players. Now for the Blue Jays, it's just containing all the players on the floor, because anybody can throw up a shot at this point with 30 seconds left. But we're probably going to see, and I'm sure you would agree, just a one set. Just try to get 1 shot off for this Vikings team and hope that the Blue Jays, of course, can turn something over.
Elmhurst with a season-high 3-game win streak on the line. Augustana has lost 8 in a row. They're 4-14 overall and winless in the CCIW. With 30.5 to play, the Vikings have a timeout in their pocket. So we will see what Bobby Endress has in mind for the Vikings. Overflow crowd between games, jumping right in and enjoying the action here as well in the women's contest. Double overtime. Whitney Miller inbounding to Fox. And the Vikings will spread the floor as Miller backs all the way up towards the stripe.
Plenty of time here to set something up. 20 seconds now. And Coach Warner just saying, stay back.
Now she wants him to come out on Miller a bit.
Just a smidge, yep, just put a little pressure on her.
Miller with 9. Clearing out to Etheridge. Count it, and a foul. And the Vikings are fired up. Etheridge hits the jumper with 5 4/10 to play. Augustana leading by 2. Elmhurst does have 2 timeouts to work with here, but this is a big free throw for Molly Etheridge. Etheridge 0 of 2 today at the free throw line. 9 points in the ball game as Elmhurst takes a timeout. 70-68 is the score. With 5.4 to play, we'll break. The conclusion comes your way in moments on Blue Jay TV.
College football 4 years is very tough, but it's also very, very rewarding. And I think this past year is just a tribute to the hard work that I put in these past 3 years, and the team did. I mean, we won the most football games since 1985. That was probably the biggest highlight of my 4 years here. We had our ups and we had our downs, and I think we just stayed together through those and persevered together. Well, my professional goal is to teach and coach. You know, definitely want to coach football. I got the experience from the 4 years at Elmhurst, which is going to be very beneficial for coaching experience in the future.
A huge free throw upcoming for Molly Etheridge, who was fouled in the act with 5.4. If she hits the free throw, the lead would extend to 3 points. Elmhurst spending the timeout here almost to ice Etheridge. They do have a timeout left to work with. But you got to wonder here, you're kind of running out of options in a hurry. A big free throw for Etheridge. 0 of 2 today. Off the back iron, rebound, Augustana, and a travel. But 2 seconds are gone off the clock. 3 3/10.
Well, after that miss, now, of course, what's obvious, 3 seconds left. You don't need to force up a three-point shot. However, a shot has got to be forced regardless. Here we go.
Joyner crosses half court. Wait a minute. We've got a foul before the shot.
Yep.
Hold on. The
There's
referee
a foul.
saying everybody back up. Rashida Joyner was leaning in, and Elmhurst receives a timeout. Rashida Joyner tried about a 35-footer. Let's see how much time they will add to the clock. 1 second.
Here we go, 1 second. And this is what it's coming down to. I mentioned before it's either going to come down to a few minutes of this game back and forth or a few seconds, and now we're down to a single-digit second.
Well, one thing I can say, the Blue Jays have been very good off of set plays this year. The question I have, the ball will be inbounded at the scorer's table across from us. I don't think there's a way you can get it into the lane. You're going to have to try a three for the win, aren't you?
Yes, and hey, you know, you're at home. Trying a three for the win isn't a terrible decision, not a bad idea at all. But boy, oh boy, an opportunity here for the Blue Jays to do something with the timeout call that one of the referees heard or saw there before Rashida Joyner took up that long shot from half court. But here we go. It's all coming down to this in the second overtime between this CCIW matchup between two very tough teams. And hey, hats off to both of these teams coming into tonight's game, doing an excellent job making things exciting and entertaining for our watchers, our viewers, and of course, us as announcers.
Elmhurst has hit only 2 3-pointers in the ball game. Gina will talk with head coach Stephanie Warner following the contest. Joyner inbounds in the corner for Monroe. The three for the win, off the mark. Monroe wanted a foul, no whistle, and Augustana snaps an 8-game losing streak and celebrates on the floor of the Blue Jays, winning in double overtime, 70-68. It is the first win of the season for Augustana in CCIW play. It required double overtime, but the Vikings are now 5-14 on the season and 1-7 in the CCIW. Game-winning shot recorded to Molly Etheridge with 5.4 to play. Fouled in the process as well, tossing up a 6-footer to give the Vikings the win. Elmhurst's season-long 3-game winning streak comes to a close as they fall today in double overtime. 70-68 is the score. Don't go anywhere. We'll have the men's contest coming your way in a moment, along with a wrap-up of this one on Blue Jay TV.
I wasn't sure getting out of high school if I wanted to bowl in college, but after I graduated high school, I knew that there wasn't any way I was going to not be able to do it. So I'm glad that I came to Elmhurst because it gave me that chance. Last year was a good year, had the first winning record for the team. I really like being on the team. It brings a lot of people together and it makes it a lot easier to meet other people. We're with each other 24/7 on the weekends when we have tournaments and like 3 days a week for practice. Some of us work out together, go to dinner together. It's nice having those close friends to always fall back on if you need something, and they're always willing to help.
Highlights.
The men have already begun warming up for the nightcap of this doubleheader. Augustana snaps an 8-game losing streak with a double overtime win here at R.A. Faginal Hall, 70-68. Gina, this was a ball game that the Blue Jays, who are trying to stay alive in the fight for the CCIW tournament and work their way into that top 4, only the top 4 get in. It was a game they could ill afford to lose on their home floor.
Well, you couldn't be more right about the fact that they had to take this game tonight here at home, but the Vikings not letting them do it too easily. And a team that comes in 0-7 with their CCIW record, they came ready to play, and I mean, just a battle back and forth, 2 overtimes. I mean, you can't say much more about the effort in the Vikings tonight.
You have to give a lot of credit to Augustana from early in the ball game. They were down double digits about 5 minutes into the contest and did not give up, continued running their game plan, fought their way back into the ball game, trailed by 5 at the half, had an opportunity to win in overtime, and then in double overtime with the basketball and 30 seconds to go, took their time in running a play, and the winning shot fell in the arms of Molly Etheridge, who hit the 7-footer to give the Vikings the lead and the win. Elmhurst was granted a timeout with 1 second left, and Kelsey Monroe's three-pointer in the corner for the win hit off the side of the backboard as the Blue Jays fall in double overtime, 70-68. A tough loss for Elmhurst, who drops to 9-10 on the season, and they're back at 500 in the CCIW now at 4-4. Let's take a look at the final numbers in front of me here for the ball game. Augustana shoots 33%, 27 of 81. Elmhurst also shoots 33%, just to give you an idea of how even this contest was, 23 of 69. The Blue Jays were 20 of 32 from the free throw line, 62%. Augustana was 10 of 17, 58%. The Vikings out-rebounded the Blue Jays by 10, 59-49 in the double overtime victory. Both teams had troubles from three-point range. Augustana, 6 of 23, 26%. Elmhurst, only 2 of 14 for 14%. Points off of turnovers, 15 points for Augustana off of 18 Elmhurst turnovers. Just 12 points for the Blue Jays off of 21 Augustana turnovers in the contest as the Vikings post their first CCIW victory. Kristen Fox, 23 points, 13 rebounds, a double-double to lead Augustana, tying for the game-high honors in points and finishing second in the game in rebounds. Whitney Miller also with a double-double for Augustana, 18 points and 11 rebounds. 2 Blue Jays crossed into double figures, Megan Merklin with 23, Megan Ney with 15 points and 15 rebounds in the contest for the Blue Jays as well, who, like we mentioned, have fallen to 9-10 and 4-4 in the CCIW. Now, Gina, this was a big week for the Blue Jays. 2 overtime games. They win on the road. They lose at home in double overtime to Augustana. But more importantly now, they need to refocus before a huge week next week, traveling down to Decatur to meet Milliken, who sits in second place in the CCIW in a contest on Tuesday. And then a quick turnaround from that for a Friday game here at home against the nationally ranked Titans of Illinois Wesleyan University.
Well, things certainly don't get any easier, and what we thought could have been an easy win for the Blue Jays here at home against a team that didn't have too many wins at all overall in the record, but Milliken and Wesleyan are 2 teams that are tough to beat. But we saw Elmhurst last weekend take it to Wheaton College, who is a great team in this conference as well. And again, like you mentioned, looking for that 4th spot. But tonight, I think it really just came down to turnovers and free throws down the stretch. Had the Elmhurst Blue Jays basketball team been able to turn those free throw opportunities into points, I think it could have been a different outcome.
You have to give a lot of credit to Augustana as well, very clearly, and you could see from the way they celebrated on the floor when the final horn sounded on their first conference win of the season. They were excited, fired up on the road. You can fall behind double digits early in a game on the road, and a lot of teams at that point, what's the point? They just stop. Not that they don't continue to try, but they don't really, try and believe in themselves and continue to run plays. They'll force shots. Augustana stuck with it today, and they end up with the win in double overtime. So that will wrap up our women's coverage here from Elmhurst College. The Blue Jays falling to Augustana in double overtime, 70-68. The men's game will come our way in about 20 minutes' time. We'll break here on Blue Jay TV as we say fare thee well. For my partner, Gina Veneer, I'm Tim Calderwood. And for our entire crew here at R.A. Fagettle Hall, thanks for viewing. The men's contest comes your way in moments on Blue Jay TV.